tag. You hit me up on Twitter, right, for the show?
Yep.
All right. Cool.
All right. And we are live. How's it going, Mets and Dodgers fans? Thank you guys all so much for chiming in for the latest post-game show here on WardyNYM. This is your boy Wardy, and this is my special guest tonight, that being D-Mac from Dodgers Nation, as we're going to be recapping, sharing our initial reactions to the Mets taking Game 3 of a 3-game set against the LA Dodgers by a final score of 2-1 in a walk-off fashion, thanks to Luis Gourmet. And this was not a pretty series for the Amazons by any stretch that we're going to be getting into. I was in attendance last night in that unfortunate Mets loss, and for D-Mac, a very happy Dodgers series W. So we're going to be bouncing back and forth. I want to hear his thoughts. For those that don't know, again, D-Mac and Dodgers Nation, they are the kings of Dodgers content creation on YouTube. So I highly implore you all to check them out if you haven't already. We did a series preview, which was a lot of fun, and I know we're going to be working plenty in the future. But before we get into D-Mac and want to hear his initial thoughts as a Dodgers fan, appreciate everyone watching live. Make sure to smash that like and subscribe button. Spam those W's in the live chat right now. And also have to let you guys know about our awesome sponsor on the channel for the series, that being in Wager Lab. Wager Lab, for those that don't know, is the up-and-coming sports betting app, social betting app. And what we love so much about this app is that, one, it's free. You do not have to spend a dime to play. You can play in every single state out there by scanning the QR code available to you, the viewer, right now, or clicking the link in the description to this post-game show. And what do you do? What have D-Mac and I have done? We've done peer-to-peer betting. So what makes this so fun is I can send the Mets money line pick, which I did today, to D-Mac over text, and in return, he has to reply with the Dodgers money line. So especially if you're, say, a Mets fan and you're facing either the Dodgers, the Phillies, or the Braves, or whoever it may be, and you have fans of those respective teams, you go back and forth and you have to do the opposite bet from another. So it's kind of like a personal challenge, which is a lot of fun. So I hit today. However, D-Mac hit on our second bet because he picked the under on runs. There was only 3 total runs scored today, so he hammered that. I had to take the over automatically. So we went 1-1 in our split today, but it's a really fun interactive tool to do. Again, you do not need to spend a dime to play. You use virtual currency by getting through this, and then you can convert that in any which way, shape, or form. It's just so much fun. I know D-Mac's been having a blast, as have I. I've not only been doing this throughout the Dodgers-Mets series, I did throughout the Dodgers-Padres series when I met Morna at Hogwatch, and I highly implore you guys all to sign up. Again, all you gotta do is scan the QR code with your smartphone right now in the live show. It is that easy, whether you're watching live on a replay. Sign up today, play peer-to-peer. It's not only available for baseball, it's available for every other sport out there, and all different types of picks that you normally do in sports betting, but you have to do the opposite pick of whatever you send to your friend. And if, say, you don't have a friend to play with, you can play against the house too. It is that simple. Again, shout out Wager Lab for being a great sponsor on the channel. Yoshima, thank you for the donation. I appreciate that. But now let's get into D-Mac. D-Mac, first, I want to know how you're feeling about this game, how the Dodgers lost, but 2, how are you feeling about this series as a whole? Because at the end of the day, the Dodgers still took this series pretty comfortably, as they took 2 out of 3.
Wardy, I'm not feeling great about this. The 5th walk-off loss of the season for the Dodgers. They're in a position to sweep the Mets, continue that winning streak, get it to 7 games. You're starting to feel really good about this team in the NL West, getting some separation with those Diamondbacks. But hey, it was a good game. I mean, look, Max Scherzer, he pitched well, had the 3 walks, had the 7 strikeouts. The cutter, I thought, was his best pitch tonight. I mean, only 1 hit against Max Scherzer was an infield single by Jason Hayward. It was 57.9 miles per hour off the bat. So the reality is the Dodgers offense didn't do enough in this one. For the series, though, you have to feel good about the fact that, hey, the Mets scored 3 times in 28 innings. 3
Ridiculous.
innings in 28 innings. So, yeah, you got to feel good about that. But still, I mean, I just don't like that sequence at the end with Robertson there. You had 2 fastballs up. Make him hit the fastball. Instead, of course, you go with the changeup, the off-speed pitch, and he hits it, and then the game ends. So not feeling great about this. I think it's a game that the Dodgers really should. Right at the end, you get close. Mookie Betts ties things up with a clutch base hit. You're really feeling good about your chances in this one. But, hey, the Mets, they salvaged the series.
They did salvage the series. And again, it was anything but pretty. And I know that you were aware I was in attendance at last night's game. Again, I had a great time at the ballpark. Did not have a great time witnessing said ball of the game because I didn't feel great every time the Mets have a rain delay. It never seems like it goes in their favor. So when that first happened, I'm like, all right, red flag number 1. Red flag number 2 is this offense is just not looking good out the gate in the second half. They only had 1 hit hit in game 1 as they lost, and in game 2 they had 3 hits yesterday, so that wasn't pretty as the Dodgers took game 2 by a final score of 5-1. I told you heading into the series I fear JD Martinez the most, as of course he had another very productive series for your Dodgers. And coming out of that loss yesterday, being in attendance and having probably one too many drinks, my conclusion was like, wow, this is not fun, not enjoying this whatsoever. This team needs to sell, and I still very much feel that way, because while the Mets took this game, let's not get it twisted, as I'm throwing up right now for everyone watching the show, you can see the hitting numbers from the Mets today. It wasn't pretty by any stretch. I mean, when you look through the offense 1 through 9 right now, they had nothing special going. The only thing that they really had special going in their favor was, for once, pitching, and it was Max Scherzer. Mad Max has had a couple brutal starts his past couple, giving up nukes galore when he faced San Diego. Gave up 2 bombs to Manny. I think he gave up 4 or 5 earned runs. Prior to that, he gave up 3 bombs. One of them was back-to-back. I think it was Christian Walker and then Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Against the D-backs. The Mets still salvaged and won that game, but he's been giving up a lot of hard contact when he's hanging stuff over plate. But as I told you, D-Mac, in our series preview, if Scherzer can locate the slider, you feel good about his chances, and that's exactly what he did tonight. He went 7 shutty, only allowing 1 infield single to Jason Hayward, who exited tonight's game with neck stiffness, if I'm not mistaken. 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, a 3.99 ERA for the veteran. That wasn't only huge for the Mets to help get them this win, but it was also important for his potential trade value that I know you and I talked about a little bit back and forth. So Max Scherzer gets the job done in that regard. Trevor Gott coming in the 8th inning was frustrating to me, because you have a Robertson ready potentially. You have Raley, and then we decided to go with Trevor Gott versus Mookie Betts with a couple guys on, and that is ultimately how the Dodgers would score their games high and run. It wouldn't be enough for them, but as I was telling you before the show even started, D-Mac, this is one of those things where we've seen head-scratching bullpen decisions all throughout the year. Many games in which, okay, you just need one more out to close it. Just give D-Rob a chance to have, say, a 4-out, maybe even a 5-out save, and D-Rob ended up pitching in the 9th and the 10th for the Mets tonight. So it just makes you wonder, what is Buck thinking in this regard? It's been a frustrating thing us Mets fans have dealt with all year long. But I want to know your take in that specific sequence too, because I'm sure you saw that Robertson could have been out there. Raley is a guy, a lefty, that has had a very solid season for us when he's commanding the zone. So what's your thoughts on the Mets bullpen decision making, not only today, but throughout the series?
Yeah, I think when you look at this Dodgers team, it's the same situation. You want to get your best guys out there, high leverage situations. I thought during that sequence, this felt like this Dodgers team, they had a couple runs in them. And I kind of want to go back to earlier in the game. We talk about Max Scherzer, the 6 strikeouts, 3 walks. I was starting to think, okay, he was dealing early on. He was effective, but I was starting to feel, we're going to have a Verlander situation where, yeah, he's effective, but the walks are getting up. And I think really with the key inning where the Dodgers had a chance to really get on top of him and score some runs, you look at that 4th inning, you get the back-to-back walks, and they just weren't able to capitalize. I mean, you got the Betts walk, the Freeman walk, then Muncy strikes out swinging. Martinez, he fouled to first, and Peralta, he flied to center. The Dodgers tonight 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position. So they had opportunities. They weren't able to capitalize, and I think that's kind of where the game was lost offensively for this Dodger team. But yeah, kind of getting back to that sequence, I mean, you mentioned the trade talk and Scherzer, Robertson. Robertson's a guy that I want to see out there if I'm for the Mets, if I'm a desperate team that's trying to really decide whether or not you're going to be sellers or a team is going to keep their team intact really to go for in the postseason. You needed this win the big way. And I think that, yeah, the Dodgers offense, some of their at-bats, they have bat quality late for this Dodgers team. You weren't able to get that win because of it. But, yeah, I mean, look, the results, I mean, at the end of the day, the Dodgers scored 1 run tonight, right? So you got to feel good about the results. But as far as the bullpen management, I think, yeah, you kind of really want to go your more high leverage guys early in that sequence.
Right, and that's a big struggle that the Mets have had all year, is those high leverage guys. And this was a unique circumstance because Robertson hadn't pitched since prior to the All-Star break. Raley's available as well, and these are guys that are your more high leverage guys, aside from Ottavino, who was not going to be pitching that situation tonight. And it's like, okay, go for the 4-out save. It's those little things that, again, will leave us Mets fans scratching our head. Thankfully, they still put out the win in the end for us to be happy about. Thanks to Luis Guillorme, a guy who realistically probably shouldn't even be on this team right now, but because a lot of guys have been underperforming, there's been some injuries. He's a guy that's always a glove type first infielder. At his best, he has the best glove on this entire roster. This year's kind of been up and down a little bit, inconsistent, but the bat was able to pull that one after initially trying to put a bunt down just to move the runner over to third in extras. That didn't work. Was able to barrel one, hits the ground right away, goes goes down the first baseline past Freddie, and that wins it for the Mets, and they salvage this series. So, talking more about this series breakdown, and I have a lot more to say on this, and I probably will once we get you out here in a little bit, D-Mac. But for the sake of a Dodgers fan point of view, how did you feel about Kodai Senga? Because I believe that was the first time that you guys have faced Senga this year. And I really want to know what it's like from an outsider's perspective to see what he has done this year as he won 6 innings of 1 earned run ball yesterday.
Oh, it's incredible, man. I think Kodai Senga is a guy that during the offseason, he's someone I wanted. Of course, the Dodgers,
Right.
They have a rich heritage of Japanese pitchers. You got Hideo Nomo, guys like that. And I really wanted to see him in Dodger blue, but I thought it was phenomenal. I mean, 9 strikeouts, 2 walks. I mean, for me, what really stands out is that pitch mix. Of course, that really Japanese pitchers across the board have a knack for that. I mean, this guy, so many pitches. I thought I was watching an episode of Shark Tank. I mean, he was phenomenal out there. He's exciting. I think he was electric. And really, for him, I mean, to get 6 out of him against his Dodgers lineup that was really humming, I mean, I was very, very impressed with him on the mound for sure.
Well, I'm grateful to hear that, because if there has been one positive for this Mets team this year on the consistency front with the rotation, for the most part, it has been Kodai Senga. And the Mets will be getting a veteran southpaw to make his season debut this year. That being in Jose Quintana, will be finally making his long-away debut after he's been injured all throughout the first half. This Thursday, Justin Verlander will be pitching this Wednesday for you Mets fans that want to know about those health updates. But going back to the Dodgers, D-Max, so again, they took 2 out of 3. They took game 1 in a very impressive fashion, 6-0, in which Urias did exactly, unfortunately, what I expected him to do. I told you, any competent southpaws just looked like prime Randy Johnson against this Mets team for not only this year, but for the past couple years now. And that was on full display. And Urias needed a start like that desperately for this Dodgers team. I know you guys have needed more consistency in that rotation, so that had to have felt good. And then yesterday, Gonsolin's pulled after not even 60 pitches over 5, but your bullpen just gets the work done. Vesia, who has not had a great year, again, a lefty. If you're a lefty, if you have some nice stuff, I mean, forget it. You 100% are going to thrive against this Mets team, given how they've been performing. But as you won 2 out of 3, what would you say is your biggest takeaway as a Dodgers fan that you're happy with? And from a Mets point of view, trying to put your Mets goggles on, what would you say is the biggest positive on that front?
I would say number one, absolutely with a bullet, is the Dodgers bullpen. This bullpen has been much maligned. They're one of the worst in the league for a long stretch. Last 18 games, they've been one of the best in baseball. And the runs this series, they've come from the starting pitching, right? The home run, Tony Gonsolin, today, Bobby Miller, and then really Robertson, of course, that's the unearned run there because you got the Manfred man. So definitely the bullpen, the performance of the bullpen. Also, going back to your point on Julio Urias, the length, getting quality from their starting pitching. If they're not going to get length from their starting pitching, it's going to be a long year for this Dodgers team. You can't continue to tax that bullpen. And I thought Julio Urias, this is a guy who said the vacation is over after his start, where I thought he was phenomenal. I mean, of course, first batter of the game, 4 pitches into that game, you give up that hit to Nimmo. It looks like it's gone. They review it. It goes as a double, ends up getting 2 strikeouts after that, and they don't get another hit for the rest of the game. So I thought he was phenomenal through just 85 pitches. Probably could have thrown him back out there. He was outstanding. Bobby Miller, I think, was the interesting one for me today, because Bobby Miller, he's had an outstanding start to his career as far as the first 4 outings, had a .78 ERA. But in his last couple starts, he's grinded. He's had his ups and downs, and really it's been trying to eliminate that big inning. I mean, the wheels have fallen off during certain sequences. The game sort of speeds up on him. So if you look at today, going up against Max Scherzer, I'm sure that was intimidating. You're playing in New York at Citi Field. It's an electric environment. He had the socks up. He was doing his thing. And I think the fact that he didn't implode there, I was impressed by that. If you look there in the bottom of the 5th, gave that leadoff single to Marte, struck out Beatty. Canna got hit by the pitch. I mean, that's when you start to see things unravel, when he's hitting batters, when he's walking guys. They walk Navarez. And then he got Nimmo to ground to the pitcher. They get the out there. And then, of course, you guys scored the run. Marte scored on that play. And then you bring in Brusdar Graterol. So I do like the fact that Dave Roberts didn't leave him out there to dry. He went out there. Brusdar Graterol came out there, got the job done. And yeah, kind of going back to your point as far as the Mets, look, sometimes you just need a win. Sometimes you just need a win. This Mets team has a lot of talent. This team has a lot of guys that, hey, when they're playing up to their capabilities, you guys can win a ton of ball games. So yeah, I mean, Kodai Senga, he's the guy I'm going to remember. I mean, the fork, I just love seeing the fork. I mean, so effective. I think with Senga, really the inning that jumped out at me One is when he got Will Smith, when he struck out him with the forkball. It's really kind of the first time it really kind of jumped out at me in the third inning during his start. But also, how cool he was under pressure. I mean, if you look at the top of the sixth inning, gave that leadoff single to Betts. And then a few batters later, he hits Smith and he walks Muncy. And then he strikes out Martinez with that forkball, bottom of the zone, got Peralta to ground to that fielder's choice. Very exciting pitcher. He looks like he can handle it in New York. He can handle a big lineup. So, yeah, you're looking forward, and kind of getting back to your point. I mean, you talked about how you want to see the Mets as sellers. Hey, look, Senga, he's a dude. Scherzer, he's pitched so much better of late. Verlander, he shows that, hey, if the command is okay, you have a really, really formidable top three of that rotation. So, hey, we saw it last season. You get a ticket to the dance, anything can happen. So if I'm a Mets fan, I think I kind of want to hold on here and see what we can do this season.
You know, I wish I had that same level of the optimism, because usually I am that internal optimist. For everyone that knows me, that has been following along on the channel the past couple of years, I'm that guy who always gives the benefit of the doubt to basically every situation, at least at first. Whether it's a small move, whether it's a big move, whether it's a changing in the guard from management to different types of aspects of the coaching staff, whatever it may be, I really try to be that guy to at least give it the benefit of the doubt initially and see where that takes them. This year has been such a Jekyll and Hyde story of this club, more one way than the other, more negative than positive. And I would like to agree with you that it's like, okay, let's give this team a little bit more of a leash to see what they're going to do. However, the one big issue here is that we don't got a lot of time. You know, the trade deadline is in pretty much 2 weeks. So it's like push comes to shove. You know, if say the Mets took 2 out of 3 against this LA team, I'm feeling better. I know it's a 1-game difference, but I think something that you can at least understand from watching all these games is it's not just a matter in which the Mets losing, it's how they're losing. Game 1 looking absolutely lifeless. Nimmo basically almost hits a home run in the leadoff, and they do nothing offensively for the remainder of the game. Game 2 yesterday, they had very little life offensively. They had some brutal defensive hiccups, and they just looked like a team that at a certain point, once the Dodgers were able to get a 2 and then a 3-run lead, they were just shot. Like, they looked lifeless. This team looks like they're pressing so much so often because they know the pressure's on their shoulders. This is not a comfortable situation to be in, especially if you're veterans that are, say, potentially rentals, like Tommy Pham, for example, Mark Hanna, David Robertson, who has truly been stellar for this bullpen when everything else has been pretty inconsistent. These are guys that, again, very well could be dealt in the ensuing weeks prior to the leading up to the trade deadline, but point still stands. This team has been pressing. They looked like that they were pressing a lot today. Bobby Miller looked absolutely sharp through his first 4 or so innings today. Lots of life on the fastball. Definitely a guy that I think is going to have a promising future in that Dodgers rotation. But as you mentioned, you see the lack of experience come into play when he starts to get into more of those jams, those higher leverage situations, right? 2 on, less than 2 out. How is he going to handle those things? Bobbles the ball if he handled that cleanly, which again is a hard thing to do on a little bit of a comebacker. Handles it cleanly, however, if he's composed, and that's a double play to end the game, not end the game rather, but end the inning, and the Dodgers potentially still win this game in regulation. So just a lot of things that I personally noticed from this Dodgers team too, that while they're not the same Dodgers club that we saw last year, they still have an abundance of pieces. I emphasized enough. JD Martinez scares the living hell out of me, and he once again did what JD Martinez at his best does in this series by having a couple big knocks. And then Freddie Freeman, even though Freddie didn't do a terrible amount this series, he's always a guy you have to watch. Mookie being Mookie. I mean, what else can I say on that front? So a lot of positives still on the Dodgers front, taking a series against the Mets team. Even with their struggles, you have to be happy about that as you head into your next series. And before I let you go, who are the Dodgers playing next? What's the schedule looking like for this club?
Yeah, no, I can't hear Rick. Say it again.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who do the Dodgers play next? What is their schedule?
The Dodgers got a 3-game series against the Orioles. That's not going to be easy. I mean, it's the Orioles team that they look like they're the real deal. So absolutely, it's going to be a really tough test. I mean, as far as the Dodgers, they're not going to be sellers, right? But I do think that the better they play, the bigger the cushion they get in their division. That's going to be their sign, their message to the front office saying, hey, we want to win with this group. I've been saying that you got guys like Jason Hayward, JD Martinez, who's really one of the best 1-year deals in baseball. And you got David Peralta, Clayton Kershaw. He said earlier that he doesn't know about 2024. This could be his last year. Julio Urias, he most likely won't be with the Dodgers. I see him in a different uniform next year. You got the last dance with Michael Jordan. I think this is the one dance with this team. I think it's like prom senior year with this Dodgers team. So, yeah, heading into that series, I think you got to be very, very focus. And yeah, I mean, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth to lose this one, especially in extra innings. I want to say too, man, I'm so over the Manfred, man. I mean, with Freddie in on that play, I mean, Freddie kind of a Gold Glove first base in on that play, gets past him. I mean, I just don't love that. I'll never be a ghost runner guy. For me, I don't have much else to do. I'm down to stay at a baseball game 4 or 5 hours. Okay, I don't need shorter games. Okay, like I'm totally fine with that. I mean, actually, I like the pitch clock. Don't love the idea of the Manfred, man. It stung once again today. And you guys really one of the better extra innings teams in baseball. I believe it was your 6th win in extra innings this year. But yeah, I mean, kind of want to get back to your comments about Bobby Miller before I head out of this one. And yeah, definitely lots of potential. Gave just 3 hits today. He ends up going 4 2/3, allowed the 3 hits. 5 strikeouts, 1 walk. I thought the changeup was impressive. I thought at bat versus Lindor, when he challenged Alonso, struck him out with the fastball. So yeah, the potential is absolutely there. But this Dodgers team, really, they lost today because 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position, 7 left on base. And at the very end, you really have your worst reliever out of the bullpen going up against this Mets team that's desperate for a win. You got the Manfred, man. You don't score. You got to hold serve. It's tennis. Today we had the Wimbledon final. You got to hold serve. You have to, at the very least, put up a run in the top half, or there's a good chance you're going to lose. And that's exactly what happened today in New York. But I will say, you owe me a slice of pizza, my man, because the Dodgers did win the series. I'm gonna get my plane ticket today. And then I'm going to come visit you, and I'll be sending you a PFP, a profile pic of Mr. Met wearing a Dodgers hat. Got to rock that for 24 hours now. But now it's been a lot of fun, man. I appreciate you. Kill it, Wardy, man. Hey, all Mets fans, you should appreciate this guy because, hey, sunshine or thunderstorms, this guy's here for you. He's your shoulder to cry on, always breaking down Mets baseball for you no matter what.
Thank you, brother. I really does mean a lot. Again, wishing you continued success. Everybody, again, please make sure to check out DMAC if you haven't already at Dodgers Nation. They do a fantastic job. Pretty much daily content on all the latest in Dodgers Nation. So, again, thank you so much for chiming in, brother, and I'm looking forward to working with you again real soon.
My man, hey, good luck the rest of the season. Let's link up once again as we get closer to the deadline because I want to talk some Scherzer, some Pham, some Robertson, possibly as we get closer to the August 1 deadline. But thanks a lot, man. Have a great rest of your show.
Thank you so much, brother. You too. Shout out to DMAC again. Really appreciate him coming in. Again, I had a fantastic time doing the series preview with him. Very happy to have him in here again, too. So, again, appreciate DMAC. Make sure to check out Dodgers Nation. Make sure to check out Wager Lab that we have linked in the description down below as our great sponsor of the series. But now, before I wrap things up, because this is not going to be an exhausted show today, a couple things I do want to share with you guys before we get to really wrapping things up here. One, do I feel confident in this Mets team at all? No, of course I don't. Of course I don't. I mean, it's nice to get a win. Would I like to see a win in person yesterday? Of course. Yesterday was actually the first time in a very long time that I got to hit a game with my entire family. I've went with certain people in my family, but haven't really had them all together. That was the first time in years, like prior to me even starting my content creation. So that was really cool. Happy to be with them. Unfortunate again that the Mets had such a stinker of a game to drop the series yesterday, but always have a fun time at the ballpark. Tried a new drink that they have there that's unbelievably expensive, but it was good. They're like boozy buckets, I think they call them. They're pretty good. It was a rum bucket. Definitely enjoyed that and just enjoyed being at the ballpark. I had many people come up to me, as it tends to always happen when I go to Mets games, and I'm beyond humbled and grateful for that. Just love having conversations, love meeting people who have been followers on the channel, new or old followers. I mean, it really does mean the world to me. So thank you guys all for that. I did want to expand a little bit more on the Jose Quintana news, however, just briefly. This is important. Look, regardless on what happens with the Mets this year, which at this rate will be nothing, Jose Quintana finally returning to this rotation is going to be vital to see what we have in him for the remainder of the year and then what we're looking at for 2024. This is a guy that had a really impressive season last year, splitting time with the Pittsburgh Pirates and the St. Louis Cardinals. He led all starting pitchers in baseball last year in home runs per 9. That is how good he was. Of course, as he comes to the Mets here, he's going to be giving up at like a five homer per 9 because why wouldn't he? I mean, that's been the Mets' luck. It's like every guy that the Mets acquired that had a really good year last year, we're getting a shell of them. JV to a certain extent, of course, especially with the home run rates. Quintana likely will be the same to a degree, especially because he's coming off of a lengthy injury. That's not an easy thing to just adjust and get back and locked into, but excited to see Quintana and what he can provide, if at all, for this Mets rotation. His first start in a Mets uni will be this Thursday, so make sure you're locking in and chiming in. We will likely be covering that game on the channel. Justin Verlander will be pitching the day prior on Wednesday, which will be the series finale against, who do the Mets play next? I'm actually blanking at the moment. Give me 1 second, everybody. Yes, that's right. The Chicago White Sox. You know, this is a series that the Mets should absolutely at minimum win 2 out of 3. As I say that, they're going to get swept. Pointsville stands. This is a vulnerable White Sox team, a team that, in some similarity to the Mets, has just been in disarray all year. And it's the battle of mid, to say the least. So it's imperative for the Mets to come out and hopefully at minimum take this series. If the Mets can sweep here, then it's a whole new ball game, if that makes sense. But the Mets have yet to prove that true dominance that they can showcase. They don't have enough pieces in their lap. They don't have enough consistency in their rotation, and they sure as hell don't have enough consistency in that bullpen either. So these are all things to note and acknowledge, and we are certainly going to be doing that. And before I do wrap things up, I do have to let you guys know about our last but not least sponsor today that many of you guys know about, and that is our fantastic friends at Sorare MLB. For those that don't know Sorare MLB, I don't know how you don't if you've been a follower on the channel. They have been a great sponsor here. They don't only sponsor here, they sponsor every creator out there in the baseball land, because they are the new and so exciting MLB fantasy game that is free to play. However, if you like to spend money to upgrade your team and have better chances at bigger prizes, you can certainly do that. You draft your team, you enter weekly tournaments with cards that are unique to you. You can buy, sell, trade them however you wish, and how you perform in these weekly tournaments is based on how these players perform in real life. So you are your own manager, you are your own GM, you are controlling who's in these lineups every couple days for these tournaments. You're controlling if you're going to keep guys, if you're going to buy them, if you're going to trade them with other people, or you're going to sell them. So all these things happen, and the types of prizes that you can get is either upgraded cards to help make your team better, and you can sell off for real dollars or trade whatever you want to do with them. You can win free tickets to your favorite MLB games for your favorite teams. You can win VIP access to meet your favorite players in baseball, whether that's someone like, I don't know, Kodai Senga or whoever it may be. Or you can even win hundreds of thousands of dollars in exclusive tournaments and so many more things. And what we're doing right now, which is an awesome campaign on the channel, as we did the past couple months, is I gave away a Brett Beatty jersey giveaway 2 months ago. This past month, I gave away a Francisco Alvarez jersey. This month, I'm giving away just a Mets jersey for whatever player the winner wants. And the only way to enter is by clicking the link in the description right now, signing up to my unique Sorare MLB League. So when you click the link, if you're new, it'll say, hey, do you want to join Wardy's League? You reply, you hit yes. You draft your team right away, you enter your weekly tournaments, and you'll be competing against me and all other Mets fans in this great, amazing Wardy community. And by doing so, you're automatically entered for your chance at winning a Mets jersey of whoever you want that's currently on the roster. So we will be randomly picking a winner, selecting a winner at the end of the month. So make sure you're chiming in now. Right after the MLB trade deadline is when we will be announcing said winner. So make sure to sign up today, clicking the link in the description, joining Wardy's unique Sorare MLB League. And thank you to the hundreds, if not thousands, of people that we've already had join Sorare MLB over the past couple months since our campaign has started. It really does mean a lot, guys. And again, thank you so much. Wardy, you sound sad, and I feel it too, bro. Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not like. Normally, I'm juiced up and I want to rip my shirt off for a walk-off win, but how I feel right now is like, okay, we got to win. Whoop-de-doo. Now let's get more wins, right? It's not going to get any easier because the Mets have like 70 games left this year. And should they sell, which I think we all expect, that we're going to see a lot of bad baseball, but the show must go on. Win or lose, a sunny day, a rainy day, your boy's always going to be here to cover this club to the best of my abilities. And it's thanks to you guys, the amazing viewers out there watching live on a replay, that truly makes this thing so special. No matter the outcome, I'm always humbled and grateful to be in the position that I'm in. But with that being said, that's going to wrap up the show. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Mets win their third game out of a 3-game set. They salvaged their series against the LA Dodgers by a final score of 2-1 in the 10th, thanks to a walk-off hit from, yes, as we all expected, Luis Guillorme. And now I'm going to be back out there. We will be back tomorrow. New video dropping tomorrow. A big topic, a pulverizing topic that should already be enough of a hint and who and or what we are discussing. And it's really going to be a great conversation starter that I hope to see you guys chime into. The pretty much our first, trade rumor, trade-esque type season talk that we're going to have. And we're going to have a lot more of those in the next 2 weeks leading up to that trade deadline. Of course, with a huge trade deadline streams, I'll be leading up to that time and all that fun stuff. So first type of trade content coming out tomorrow, a nice quick hitter for you guys to enjoy and let me know your thoughts on. And then we'll be back at it with post-game shows as soon as this Tuesday, most likely. Until then, have a great rest of your night, day, evening. Whenever you're watching this, sign up to Wager Lab, clicking the link in the description down below, of course, and make sure, again, to subscribe to my man D-Mac at Dodgers Nation if you're ever interested in Dodgers coverage. Thank you guys so much.